And here we are. Good afternoon, everybody, live in Marathon. How about this, Dan? Three Amigos.
This is something. This is
Three Amigos Mexican Bar and Grill, and we've got everything out here. Usually we do a big intro. We'll do that too, but appetizers here at Three Amigos, part of everything that's going on. Taco special today as well. Fish Fry Friday here. A great menu every day of the week, but the appetizers, you got the chicken wings, nachos, poppers, cake, flan, salsa. And this is like this much of the entire menu.
It's true.
Laying out right here. It's impressive.
It is.
Yeah. Come on down to Three Amigos. Come right now.
Come right now. You can have some of this.
We'll share it with you. You can stand right behind us. Come down after we're gone. Enjoy all the festivities here tonight on a Wednesday night. All right, Dan, let's see here. Jason Zaleski, Dan Ross. What we've got on the show today, well, we had opening round playoffs yesterday, girls basketball. We'll also give you the Friday preview, a small little bit of boys basketball left. We had hockey playoffs last night. We got a few things to catch up on, Dan.
Yeah. It's all ours. We're going to eat it all.
Right now. See you. Bye. All right, JK, it's still here. It won't be for long though.
Yeah,
it won't be for long. I don't know what I can do to help myself during the show, as we're here at Three Amigos in Marathon, just right off the highway. Just you come in, if you're coming in on 29, you just turn south on 107, right? Am I getting all the names right? And you come to the second intersection, and you hang a left.
Right across from McDonald's and the gas station.
And who would want to go to that crappy place anyway? This is good.
This is great.
This is good stuff here. So come on down. We're going to do what we can to not chew in your face today, but no guarantees.
We might.
No guarantees.
Yeah.
All right, Dan, we had girls basketball playoffs, first round action last night, and you and I are of the same mind on a couple of things, and in this case, one thing where, and I can't even attempt to argue against this, because it would seem silly at this point. It's been going on for so long. It would seem kind of pointless. It's not going to change. I don't really change much around here anyway. There's been a couple things, but this would never get changed based on what you and I are saying. But still, it's something we want to bring up because we just have some concerns. Confusion/concerns.
Yeah, for sure.
You've got one. I've got one in particular. Two kind of instant examples from last night. Mine is White Lake at Lena. That was Division 5 girls basketball.
Yeah.
It's the 1 and the 16, and there were blowouts all over the place last night. So this is not unique. And where I connected my dots to this discussion were, there's some talk right now in football playoffs to expand the field. In football, level 1, there are blowouts all over the state. So you expand it. You're saying I like blowouts, and I want to keep I don't know, I guess embarrassing these kids with these big blowouts.
Well,
I would be embarrassed.
People like football, right? And they would love a 10th game, basically, is what it comes down to.
Even if it was 55-0? Yeah, well, because that's what we see on a regular basis in level 1. Okay, so last night, these are two examples. There were many good games, but by far many not good games last night. And
especially in the lower divisions.
Yeah, so White Lake played 8 games during the season. That was
more than usual.
Well, they kept an all-conference schedule. They played the 8 games. They took an hour-and-a-half bus one way, southeast to Lena, and they got beat 86-2. They scored 2 points in the second half. You got beat 86-2. People have told me before, well, we want to finish off the high school experience and get that playoff game. What was that experience? I don't know what the experience was. And the White Lake got on the bus. They scored 2 points, and they went back home and did nothing all night. I don't know what the experience is. I'm not going to change it. I'm not asking to change it. I just don't know what the experience is.
Yeah, and the better teams do risk getting hurt. They do risk things happening negatively impacting it. And I guess that's part of the playoffs. But no, those girls did not feel great after losing by 84 points last night. I guarantee it.
What could you feel?
No.
Doesn't make any sense to me. What did you see?
I saw a lot of blowouts. I saw a lot of teams with just a couple girls. Up and down the brackets, we have 70, 80-point wins, 60-point wins, and it's costly, right? It's Cost
Yeah.
money to
Yep.
put it on. The fans aren't even coming to the games because they know the home team's going to be playing Friday and Saturday probably, especially if you're a top 2, top 3 seed, whatever the case is. And there's just not a lot of energy or excitement last night. I was at an 8-9 game, and there wasn't a lot of excitement in that gym. I can't imagine a 116 or a 215 game, how anybody even gets up for it at this point.
Did we have a team forfeit in the second half yesterday? Is that what I understood?
Yeah, Milwaukee Madison had 5 girls. 1 got hurt early, so they were playing 4 girls. They got a bank free throw late. I think it was 73-1 at halftime. And Milwaukee Madison waved the white flag and said no.
Yeah.
They started the running clock halfway through the first half when it was 40 points,
Yeah.
which is a coach agreement at that point.
Right, because the rule is after second half or after halftime.
It's 9 minutes left.
Or 9 minutes in the game. Yeah. Okay.
But usually coaches are like, yeah, we're not coming back, right? So
Right.
run it.
Right. Again, I'm not asking to change.
No.
Nobody will listen to me anyway. It's been going like this for such a long time. I just don't get what the people that say, well, it's for their experience. I don't know what that experience was.
I mean, maybe it's an opt-in thing, right? If White Lake has the opportunity to say, hey, do you want to be considered for playoff competition 2 weeks before the brackets come out?
Yeah.
And if as a team they say, yeah, we want to play, then sure. But I'm not saying that these teams are being held at gunpoint or anything like that. But I mean, knowing that you're going to get Lena, who's I think they have 2 losses this year.
Yeah. Yeah, potential state team.
Yeah, really tough.
Yeah, and I think the coaches on the other side, so the coaches on the winning side, they're going to say, well, we want that game. You know, this is better than practice for us, at least for a little while. Well, that's what they're going to say.
Yeah.
And that we want that game. So, okay, enough about that, unless you have anything else. Yeah, all right. So, because it is, I hate this phrase so much, Dan. I wish I could punch it in the mouth, but it is what it is. In this case,
It is.
that phrase fits in this case.
We aren't
here.
going to be able to change anything.
Yeah.
It's more complaining than anything else. Maybe the girls really liked having one more game, right? And if that's the case, then awesome.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, maybe make the case that the hour and a half on the bus ride is that was fun and games. They get to play music and do dances.
Yeah,
and
it probably was.
things.
right?
And you get to spend time with your
Yeah.
friends outside without your parents watching over you and all this other stuff. Okay, maybe that's the experience. But don't tell me it's the experience on the court. I'm never going to buy that. Okay, scores. Here we go. Scores from around the area. As we sit here in Marathon, by the way, at Three Amigos, Mexican restaurant and bar, Mexican cantina
Big
and bar.
sponsor
right?
of Marathon
Mexican
Sports.
Bar and Grill. There we go. Three
Yeah.
Amigos, Mexican Bar and Grill. Let me get it right for once.
Yeah, one of our great marathon sponsors this year.
Yeah, one of the reasons we're able to show as many games as we did, including a playoff game last night, Merriwood girls. I'll report that score here in just a second as we buzz through these. There are highlights now starting to appear on the various Facebook channels, so go check those out. Games can be watched anytime on demand, instant replay, whatever you want to call it. Greenwood over Elko, 53-16. That was a running clock game. Tomahawk over Sturgeon Bay, 48-35.
Who's this Tomahawk you speak
Yeah, I
of?
know. A lot of, I guess some of the
Oh.
state calls it Tomahawk. We
Tomahawk.
call it Tomahawk around here.
Tomahawk.
Three Lakes, Phelps, 43-35 over Rib Lake. It was Loyal moving past Rosholt, 58-35. Athens, 75-14 winners over Marion. Columbus Catholic, 59-16 over Northland Lutheran. Edgar, 56-49, Merriwood South. Playoff showdown. I know those highlights are on Facebook along with Pittsville and Iola Scandinavia as the Panthers beat the T-Birds 59-28. Get a little bit out of our area there. Assumption 78-8 winners over Port Edwards. Yeah, Sevastopol 65-7. Almond Bancroft 49-44 winners over Reedsville. That game was tight the whole way through.
Closer than you would expect. I think it's a 6-11 game, right?
Yeah, I think that sounds about right. It was 6-11. Yep.
Yeah.
Highlights of that game coming up on Facebook a little bit later on this afternoon. Lords Academy 97 and the Tri-County Penguins 23. Really tight game. Chautauqua Weyerhaeuser 49-44 over Spencer. To my understanding, Chautauqua Weyerhaeuser a comeback win in that second half over the Spencer Rockets. Yep. River Falls over Wausau East.
That was a close one, too.
62-51. Medford, 64-36 winners over New Richmond. And then I'm going to pause on this one, Dan, because we've got some extra splaining to do here. Merrill, 83, Ashland, 66, and Mia Ott goes bananas.
That is unreal.
Bananas.
I asked if it's a state record. It has to be.
In a playoff game?
Just
or in a regional semifinal or quarterfinal game?
I mean, just in general in the state for girls basketball.
Mia Ott scores 53, 14 three-pointers on her way to the 53 points. Those are both school records for sure.
Yeah, I mean, has anybody hit 15 threes in girls basketball in the state?
I find it hard to believe.
Realistically, I don't think so.
I find it hard to believe. So Mia Ott, congratulations.
I mean, we can just say it is, and then someone may correct
it
us
is.
later.
State record.
State record.
I said it. You said it. Wapaka, 60-40 winners over Peshtigo instead of Peshtigo or whatever the other folks called it. Peshtigo. Yep, Peshtigo. Let's see, Clintonville, 45-40 over Northland Pines.
Trucking on.
The Truckers do truck on to Friday.
Yeah.
It was a Marathon hanging on against Ladysmith, 45-42. Ladysmith ball in hand with a chance to win. Came up empty on a missed shot. Or a chance to tie, I should say.
A chance to tie, they chose not to shoot it.
Well, they didn't like the tying option. That was not for them.
It's true.
Not for them.
I thought I might have a buzzer beater last night. I did not.
Abbotsford 52-35 winners over Colby. Owen Winnethy, or as they do every day over there, Dan, they Winnethy again, 54-25 over Torp.
They have a good squad this year.
Yep. Manawa 49-43 over Waiawega. Fremont Ocanos 55-43 winners against Shiocton. And we'll give them one more here. Eau Claire North, 61-41 over DC Everest.
Go Huskies.
There you go. It's a pretty good wrap-up. There's probably scores from all over the place that you wished I would have said. Those are the ones I chose to say.
Yeah, I mean, those are all the games that had local teams. Everybody else had a bye. Getting ready for Friday night.
Yep, had a bye, looking good. There's a race about to start. I don't know what that means. That's why I shouldn't read messages during the show. These people, they just spout off. I have no idea sometimes what they're saying. Other times, I think I got it pretty well handled. Friday, let's talk about that. Friday games, as we promised a lot to the people here today, and I was told early on, you got to give the people what they want. Friday, girls.
It's a good business model.
For this type of business.
Yeah.
Yeah. As long as they want to, help, they got to help out a little. Girls basketball playoffs are live on Zaleski Sports Friday, and in this way, it is Fall River visiting Assumption, Holman at Marshfield, Luther at Neilsville, Columbus Catholic against Greenwood and Three Lakes, and Pacelli square up to round off our live coverage on Friday. That Columbus-Greenwood game is version 3.0. Those are conference opponents.
Yeah, there's a couple of interesting, maybe spicy games in there. The Pacelli Columbus game is one of those.
Yeah, Greenwood Columbus.
Or Greenwood Columbus.
Yep.
Pacelli Three Lakes, that might be something.
Yeah, there's been some talk about Three Lakes during the season.
Yeah.
So we'll see what the
Blue
Jays have to say.
Yeah, Athens. Who does Athens have? We're probably not there. Athens.
We are
is
not
4.
there.
I don't remember who the 5 is, but
I can look it up.
yeah, that's so. In the first round, we
Athens
have,
Loyal.
Yeah, in the first round, we have these 8-9 games. There's a couple that are okay, but Friday now you have the 4-5s playing each other. So we have some pretty good teams playing
like
each
this.
other. Yeah, and Athens crushed last night.
Yeah, Athens. I
They
probably
won by 60 or something.
did I not say their score? Athens over Marion, 75-15.
Yeah.
Yep. So 60.
Yeah. So I think that these 4 or 5 games are great. The 3-6 games also have potential to be really good games. We're going to see a lot better basketball Friday than what we did last night. Just based on the quality of teams.
Quick note, asterisk. We will have the same discussion next week after we see boys teams getting blown out all over the place too.
Yep.
It is not a girls issue.
This is
a basketball issue in Wisconsin.
Yes.
All right, we will have highlight reporters at the following locations on Friday night: Edgar at Pittsville, Wapaka at Wittenberg Burnhamwood, Whitehall at Auburndale, Wausau West at Spash, Hayward at Mosinee. So we start collecting some of those highlights and
A lot more
show the world.
D1 teams playing Friday.
Yeah.
It's really the first round, if you want to call the handful of D1 games as like play-in games, I guess.
Yeah, and there were a couple of those. I didn't report on those scores.
Yeah,
but there were a
17-18 or 15-18s playing each other,
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah, there were a couple of those.
Yeah.
Hockey action last night over in Chippewa Falls. It was Shy High 3-0 winners against Eau Claire Memorial. So the 1 seed Chippewa Falls moving to boys hockey now momentarily. Sectional semifinal. So games to state
I'm
are
upset
on
about
Saturday.
hockey, so
You are?
my
Okay.
T-Birds lost.
Then you would be upset.
To Mosinee.
Well, sorry that happened. Yes, well, I'll get to Mosinee
Okay.
in just a minute.
Nothing
I'm
against
glad you
the
brought it
town,
up,
but
though.
I'm upset today.
Glad you brought it up. So empty net goal in the final 30 seconds for Chippewa, but still 3-0 win. You pitch a shutout
That's
in
a
hockey
really good win.
in a sectional semifinal game against this top 5-6 teams in Division I boys hockey, all really good.
Yep.
And so you go 3-0, 2-0, whatever. That's a thing to be proud of. So Chippewa moves on to a sectional final. The game will be played at Hudson 4 o'clock. We'll have it live right here on Zaleski Sports, and they will play the Spash Panthers. Who beat Hudson 5-3 final score, a game Mike Wendland, our very own Mike Wendland, called it, and about 8 minutes in, he said it was chippy. Already 8 minutes into the game, and there were some fisticuffs after the game on the ice.
I heard that, the handshake line.
Some rowdy Raiders headed out of town. They are accustomed to going to state. They've been to state often over the last number of years.
Yeah.
But the Spash Panthers, congratulations. They will now play Chippewa in Hudson. Puck drops at 4 o'clock, live right here on Zaleski Sports. And then Dan mentioned our other sectional final game on Saturday. Puck drops at 2 o'clock in Mosinee. And
Hatchets,
the
Comets.
Mosinee Indians and Tomahawk Hatchets.
Yeah. Tomahawk.
Going to state. Somebody is.
Not generally a strong hockey program, but they're
Here
having
they
a
are.
fantastic season.
Here they are.
Co-GNC champs and the 1 seed.
Tom King on the call in Mosinee, Bob Bradovich on the call in Chippewa. I will be in tow as well over in Hudson.
Yeah, Chippewa Falls, not really the team that usually makes it to state. So a really good year, not out of nowhere because those Big Rivers schools have athletes, right? But usually it's Spash or Memorial or Hudson that end up going in that sectional. So
Yeah. So somebody new
yep,
as they play they play state at Middleton.
yeah,
One reason, well, my opinion reason being is they got the wrestling over in Madison at the
Same
Cole
weekend.
Center, same weekend,
Yeah.
individual state during that same time, and both the wrestlings and the hockey, they're physical groups, and you don't want to get them too close to each other. You know,
Yeah.
things could start flying.
we have all been involved in
Joking.
the big wrestling tournaments. It is like 16 hours of wrestling straight.
I had the pleasure of calling state wrestling from start to finish a couple of years ago over at Wausau East High School. And yeah, it is, and it's passionate. It is for hockey too. It's loud and rowdy in there, and it's a fun environment though at the same time.
Yeah.
So there you go. Boy, whip through that in a hurry. There's a lot going on. I know I skipped
Yeah.
some things.
Yeah, there really is. We hadn't even talked about boys basketball, which is final games tomorrow night.
Well, let's talk about that then.
Yeah.
Okay, games live on the network tomorrow. And Dan, we'll start with your game. And Auburndale at Marathon. We thought that was going to be a conference championship showdown, but the Stratford Tigers took out Auburndale on Monday night.
Yeah.
Marathon, you were there. At Edgar held serve, and Marathon were conference champions on Monday night.
Yeah, and it's one of those circumstances or situations where nobody in the gym expected Auburndale to lose, right? I mean, Auburndale one conference loss coming into that game,
Yeah.
2 losses overall the entire season. And I knew, and I was saying it on the call, that Auburndale lost 30 seconds before Marathon won. Right? So
Yeah,
I
yeah,
knew
right.
I knew that Auburndale was going to lose, or they were in the process of losing.
Yeah.
Free throws at the end. And nobody in the Marathon fan section, which was packed. Almost the entire city of Marathon went to Edgar, which isn't far. Probably the entire student section was there, and nobody knew that they were conference champs. The players didn't know.
They
until
should have been
into the
watching on
locker
their
room.
phone.
Well, I was trying to yell at people, but
That's
they're-
right. So
they're not
you got to bring the news then. Is that what you're telling me?
listening. Word spread quick.
Oh, okay.
I will say.
Okay. So
I
somebody
did
found
have
out.
a bunch of Marathon people come up to me and say, "Is it true that Stratford beat Auburndale?" I'm like, "Yeah, we watched it on Zaleski Sports."
Yeah.
And they're like, "That means we're conference champs, doesn't it?" I'm like, "It does mean that."
Yeah, it's exactly what it means.
And like it was like word of mouth. It was like the old telephone game.
Fun time.
Yeah, Marathon cruised to victory in that one, but I've had multiple Marathon people since then, so last night and after the game, ask me, does Edgar play this physical against everybody that they play? And my answer is, yeah, they're football players, right? I have heard some things that happened during the game that I did not see, and I'm not going to comment on them. For interactions, kind of after the whistle, in the corners of the gym, like it doesn't
Stuff
matter.
that
to me.
happens on the floor stays on the
Yeah,
floor.
it doesn't matter to me.
Yeah.
And I don't begrudge anybody for their actions in the heat of the moment, right?
Sure.
I will say that Edgar is a very proud town, very proud school, football school. They don't like being beat by 30. Nobody does.
Yeah, it was a whooping.
Yeah, nobody does. Marathon's really good.
Marathon is really good. By the way, we are at Three Amigos Mexican Bar and Grill here in Marathon, home of the conference
Are
champion
you going to order more stuff?
Red Raiders. I think we don't have enough. So, yeah, I think that's a really good idea. You know, when I was here, the last time I was here, I had street tacos. They were
The
fantastic.
street tacos here are really good.
Yeah, they were fantastic. Again, we've got our jalapeno poppers, nachos.
I had one.
How was that?
It was good.
Yeah, chicken wings, flan, a regular cake,
Yeah, this cake,
salsa.
This cake is going to get eaten. I'm just saying.
They fry the chips right here, and they cut and make the salsa just right back there, just a few feet away. It's all done right here, and that's why it's amazing. It's fresh. That's the biggest deal with it. Of course, you got your enchiladas, your burritos, a good seafood menu. I know there's fish tacos that are on special here today, quesadillas, fajitas.
Fish fries on Friday.
Yeah.
For those partaking in Lent.
If you're more of a fan of ketchup, I know a lot of people in central Wisconsin are. Burgers are here too. Salads, if you're worried about how you're going to walk out of here and how you might look. Three Amigos Mexican Bar and Grill. You know, I don't know what that even means. We've got Auburndale at Marathon boys basketball on Thursday.
It's going to be a really good game.
We wrap up, this is the final boys games in most of the state. I'll explain that in just a second. Let's see, Wisconsin Rapids at DC Everest, Stratford at Assumption, Wausau East at Spash.
Good game.
Port Edwards at Pacelli, Wyoming Fremont at Amherst, Hudson at Eau Claire North, and Indian Trail at Racine Case. And that is it for us. I thought we were going to squeeze in a boys game on Saturday, but we are not. So there you go. There's the live games. Wausau East at Spash. That was a game you and I got to watch courtside a month or so ago.
A revenge game.
Over at Wausau East. Wausau East physically got the worst of it.
Yeah.
Blood all over the place, and a kid came out the next night looking like Batman with the mask on.
Yeah,
and
there
the whole
were
works.
4 or 5 blood timeouts in that game.
There were. Speaking of wrestling. So that game is in Stevens Point tomorrow night. Go in and check that out. AJ Ligman will be on the call over in Stevens Point, but that's kind of that quote final tune-up game. I'm not sure if I really believe in that phrase either.
Yeah.
But you got to play Thursday, and then both of those teams wait all the way until next week, Friday, to play. It's a long time.
It is a long time. Yeah, we talked to some of the coaches about this last week. What do you do with more than a week off? And there were some teams that only had one game this week, and I think it was on Tuesday.
There were a couple. Yeah.
Right? So you have 10 days between games.
Yeah.
And then you have to play a very meaningful playoff game. Like, that's tough. That's difficult. Speaking of our coaches show.
Yeah, that was on Sunday.
Yeah, on Sunday. I had some feedback on that.
I'm nervous.
From Marathon, and they said to me yesterday, wow, you were really going hard at Jason. You were really being mean to him. And
He probably was.
I don't know. I think it was because I was trying to get something named for you with these Marshfield stools. Like a men's restroom or a coach's stool.
Was that what they were getting at, you think?
It must be. It must be.
I thought I had a really good idea. I'm going to go and take I don't know what you chisel wood with, but I'm not a woodworker. But go and carve my name into the bottom of one of the bleachers so nobody can see it.
Like a
but it's there.
woodburning kit. Yeah.
Yeah, well that, I don't know.
That's dangerous.
Yeah, it might be. I'm going to burn the whole place down. But maybe that's the way to do it. I don't know. I'm not sure I'm deserving of having that name on something, but maybe.
Yeah, but they said you should be nicer to him. You were really mean to him. Like, what? I mean, maybe I
News
was.
to me.
Yeah.
News to me. But that means they were watching, and that's
They were
that's
watching.
Good. That's good.
They said, you know what? I saw you and Jason. You guys were on the game. And I said, which game was it? Mm-hmm. They're like, I don't know. You were in the studio. I'm like, okay, well.
No games in the studio.
No.
Not usually.
And then through further conversation, and there was a group of people. They were like It's getting to the point where like we're drawing a crowd,
Yeah.
right? It's late in the season. You've been in the gym 2-3 nights a week, the entire week. People are starting to pay attention now because playoffs are here, and especially the marathon fans know that they have a monster this year
Yeah.
with the boys program, and they were happy to see the girls win last night too.
Sure.
But people are definitely paying attention now.
So this is the time of year you're telling me that people in the community, parents, maybe they're okay with saying it, but people in the community and friends and neighbors, now's the time of year that they start saying we.
Yeah, it is.
We are going to
Yep.
win. We are going.
Yes.
We are playing Auburndale. Now it's all we.
Yep.
Yeah, even though they may not have been there in November.
They're all
December.
wearing jerseys now.
Yeah,
They're all part
everybody's
of the
all
team.
dressed up. Oh man! All right, well there we go. That's we kind of fit in the schedule there at the same
Yeah.
time. Let's go through it for Friday one more time, as I know this is being worked on the website right now as we speak. So I'm just going to take a peek. So not quite. So you're getting this news before anybody else by watching this show. That's what I'll tell you right there. Girls basketball playoffs live on Friday. Fall River and Assumption, Holman and Marshfield, Luther and Neelsville, Columbus Catholic and Greenwood, and Three Lakes and Pacelli. It's a pretty good lineup.
Three Lakes
good. I like
Pacelli
it.
again. That might be something.
Yeah, that's the 8-1
Yeah.
happening right there. And, the other one to, if we're just giving opinions here, just take a peek on, just because it's the third time. Conference opponents,
Yes.
Greenwood, Columbus Catholic, they played each other very tight during the season. Matter of fact, Greenwood had a comeback win over in Marshfield a couple weeks ago. That it'll be tight on the scoreboard.
Yeah, it should be.
Has been. Okay, what else? What else should we talk about, Dan? We got some things. I don't know if we're ready for the minute yet, but maybe we are.
Oh, well, we can. Well, you know what? We haven't talked about boys' seeds.
Okay. All right.
I mean, we talked about it on Sunday with the coaches, but
Yeah. Well, you start.
yeah. A lot of, I don't think there were surprises, right? If you were a subscriber to the VIP page on Zaleski Sports, you knew most of the seeds ahead of time. Some teams might have moved up or down one spot, but for the most part, the coaches that paid attention already able to scout some of these teams, right? Which is fantastic. Division 4, Marywood South are the top 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Mm-hmm. Auburndale's probably happy that they'll see Edgar in the third round if they both make it. They'll see Edgar in the third round instead of Stratford.
Well, seeing as how they were able to beat Edgar twice and split with Stratford,
Yeah.
and we'll wait for Marathon. That won't happen soon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that would be a week
Be a
and a half
regional
away
final
or something.
or,
Yeah.
or sectional semifinal. Sorry. Yep.
That would be 2 weeks from
Yeah.
tomorrow.
Yeah. They'd be happy for that extended break from Marathon.
Yes. Local D1 schools, the top 2 seeds, and the boys' side, right?
Yeah.
Marshfield
so
and
yep.
Spash.
Yep. And Marshfield turned out to be the not only are they the 1 seed, they're the number one in Division 1. Spash Panthers the 2, and that would be a sectional sectional final there on the D1 side if they were
Yeah.
to meet for the third time. And there's a possibility that happens. I know a lot of folks out there they're really going rah-rah on the Fox Valley teams, and deservedly so, I suppose. But this might be a different
pockets.
year. Might be a different year.
Pockets of the state are very passionate about where they're from, right?
Yeah.
And a lot of booing. I don't want to say crying. I think people are starting to understand that the computer seeds it, and you can complain about it because the computer's never going to fight back,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
But there's a lot of people statewide that think the FVA teams were completely underseeded, and it's only because they play each other, and that is part of it, right? The top of that conference is really tough. The top 5 or 6 really good. The top couple in the big rivers really good, and they beat up on each other. Maybe the Valley's not quite that way, but these Valley teams that finished 1 and 2, they went out and they played a schedule that was competitive with anybody else in the sectional, and they won those games.
They did. They did. They took advantage of their non-conference schedule to accomplish those things, and they did go out and win those games.
Yeah.
And along the way, those pockets of people that were chanting for their own teams, they were also throwing shade at the Valley, the Wisconsin Valley, almost every time.
Yeah.
Including the number 1 seed in Division II here in the Wisconsin Valley Conference, the Wausau East Lumberjacks. We said we'd talk about Tom King's Jacks, and having a great season. They're the number 1 seed in their group in Division II.
Yeah. Rib Lake also a number 1 seed in Division 5.
Yeah.
A little bit out of the viewing area probably, but not too far away. It's really not that far. So we have a lot of local teams that have really favorable seeds, teams that can really make a run. And some of those teams, most of those teams are playing their best basketball. Marshfield's playing their best. Bash, maybe not. But Rib Lake, Marathon, they're playing best ball at the best time.
Yeah, and I'm looking at the Wausau East bracket now. I would say favored to be in a sectional semifinal, and then all bets are off at that point, I think, because they would go up against a Big River school in either River Falls or New Richmond, most likely.
Rice Lake would be a really good regional final.
Also a Big River school, right? Or no, or not anymore.
I think they are.
Okay.
Yeah.
They're in that neighborhood anyway.
Yeah, but they're up there.
Yeah. Yeah, so a good regional final game. I would ride with the Jacks on next week Saturday, though.
I would too.
Yeah. And then after that, it gets then it's going to have to be a lot of we showing up in the gym.
Yeah, and those East fans I feel like they've been in waiting for a really good team, because we've been over there a couple times and the fans have turned out.
Yeah, and we're probably bad luck, I think, for the Jacks, because I think every game I've seen in person they've lost. So maybe I shouldn't go.
Well, they beat Spash.
Well, they did beat Spash that
They also
day.
beat Rapids. What are you talking about?
Okay. Was I there for that one too?
Yeah.
I don't know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, we were.
I'm 2-1 with the Jacks.
We were
Here we
on
go.
the game. Yeah.
Hey, here we go.
Here we
Wausau
go.
East. Here we go.
Yeah.
Yeah, so some good stuff coming up. Boys basketball, regional quarterfinals in various parts of the state begins on Tuesday. I do know those games that will be live, but you're going to have to wait and see on the website for those. We decided those earlier today, and I don't remember what they are anymore. Steve knows.
Yeah.
Steve knows what they are.
I know that I'm not on a game till next Friday. So.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Aside from tomorrow, but in the next playoff game.
Yes.
Next week, Friday.
Yeah. Also, when we were in Edgar, Trevor and I were in Edgar on Monday, and we had 2 Edgar fans who came up to Trevor and asked when the next edition of the Edgar football film is coming. Mm-hmm. And I looked confused because it's not football season.
It's not.
And then Trevor looked a little confused. But then the very nice ladies said, well, it said coming in 2024, ...
Yeah.
And they said, we're already 2 months into 2024.
They're correct. They're right.
What is going on?
They're right.
And Trevor said, I don't know. I put that on there.
We've got a full-length season documentary coming up for the Edgar Wildcats that Trevor is working on.
Very nice.
We've got lots of footage in the vault that has to get dusted off. It's one of those where you got the padlock on there, and we probably forgot the combination for it. So there's going to be some work that gets done after basketball season.
Yeah.
And then that documentary will come out on YouTube, and it's the preview. The preview looks nice. Hopefully, we can back it up with the full feature.
Yeah, I was really surprised that they picked us out and said, we're on the edge of our seats. It's like a cliffhanger. Like what's happening?
Well, football town, Edgar, Wisconsin.
Yeah, and Edgar is probably a little bit spoiled, right? Because they had all the coverage and a state title.
Yeah.
Next year, probably less coverage from Zaleski Sports, I would imagine. But
we'll see. Usually the football team calls us and they're able to convince us of things.
Yeah.
So we'll see. We'll see what happens. But yeah, that'll come out, I don't know, a month and a half or so, probably in that range. Again, we are at Three Amigos Mexican Bar and Grill here in Marathon. Alex has got us hooked up with all these things here.
Yeah.
Let's put some. We got chimney cheesecake, which is right here. So that's going to make you want to dig in even more, I think.
Yeah.
Yep, 2 creamy raspberry cheesecake filled with your choice of strawberry, chocolate. We got all kinds of stuff going on there. We got the flan sitting right there. That is, caramel and Mexican custard. Just amazing. Those are some of the desserts you can get here. Churros and fried ice cream as well. Bring your little tykes. The kids menu also available at Three Amigos Mexican Bar and Grill in Marathon.
Yeah,
Marathon's north side.
If you come down right now, you can have some of this food.
We'll share.
Yeah, we'll share.
We'll share. Somebody came in a little bit ago. I thought she said hi to us, but she kept trucking. So I don't know who that was.
Well, they see the camera and they're like, ooh, they have like the Jumbotron face, right?
Right.
Where they're really happy and they look up, they see themselves, like, oh.
Oh, yeah. I don't want to be
They have
doing
to,
this
like,
anymore.
look away. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So boys basketball playoffs begin Tuesday. Girls basketball playoffs continue on Friday. What did I mention? 8 games still yet tomorrow. Boys basketball
Sounds
games
right.
tomorrow.
Yeah.
So lots going on here at Zaleski Sports. Zaleskisports.com will lead the way.
I don't think there's any conference titles still up for grabs. So tomorrow,
I'd have to search far and
Yeah.
wide to find one. There's probably one somewhere in the state. But I
Yeah.
don't know where it is.
So definitely get out and support your teams, especially in the playoffs. It really means a lot to the kids. One of the things that I noticed last night, and it always hits me really hard, is we're finally doing playoff games, and you'd be hard pressed to find anybody as excited about the playoffs coming than us two. And then the playoffs are here, and like it's a little less exciting than talking about like what could happen,
Yeah.
right? Sometimes.
Yeah.
There's nothing like, and my heart was going last night too, right? It's
awesome.
the playoffs. Somebody's going home.
Yep.
And, you know, last night I had the Lady Smith marathon game, and marathon led by 12, 10. Lady Smith came back big at the end. They have 2 Gago girls that are really good. I don't want to assume that they're sisters. They're both sophomores. I'm not assuming things. I've
Could
done
be
that.
anything.
I've done that. I'm
They
always
could be
wrong.
unrelated.
It could be. Maybe Gago is a really popular last name in Lady Smith.
Could
I have
be.
no idea.
Yep.
But Lady Smith has to foul at the end to put Marathon on the line, and it's a 2-possession game. And one of their best players has to take a foul, and she's a senior. It's her 5th foul, right? And the game's not over yet, but for her, she realizes that's it.
It's over.
That's it. And, you know, waterworks, tears, and I mean, rightfully so, right? It's not just girls, boys also cry at the end of the season, and it really becomes reality. Like, we're so excited for the playoffs, but then you think about the human element of it, that there's a lot of seniors playing their last game they'll ever play.
Yeah, especially if they aren't in a spring sport.
Yeah.
It's over.
Yeah. And I mean, she cheered for her teammates, and they came up a little bit short, but just a couple seniors on that Lady Smith team, a lot of really good talent, underclassmen. They're going to be pretty good in the future, but again, it's just a realization that we're watching kids on the floor for the last time. They're never going to play organized basketball again.
Yeah, we mentioned it over the last couple of weeks. We start losing our friends.
Yeah, we do.
Here in this way.
Yeah.
And you know, whether the friends are the actual kids, the parents, the team, we start losing our friends. Before we move on to today's Merriwood Minute, coming up in just a minute or less.
All right.
Congratulations to Greenwood's Tyson Lindner. Set the all-time rebound record last night for Greenwood girls basketball. That moment is in the highlight. That is on Facebook, Zaleski Sports, and Zaleski Sports West. That was published last night at 10 p.m., so you might have to scroll back 1 or 2 to find that. But Tyson Lindner it sets the all-time rebounding record, and then piled on another 10 more or so after that. So congratulations to Tyson, and good
That's
luck.
awesome.
Yep, as a junior. Has 770 rebounds.
I mean, it's not 14
junior.
threes, but it's pretty good.
Yeah, Mia Ott. The story last night, an individual story last night.
14 3-pointers.
14 threes on our way to 53 points in a win over the Ashland Ordockers.
I mean, you make the
Merrill
first
Blue Jays.
make the first 10, you gotta guard her. you gotta get a hand up.
All right, Dan, here we go. Today's Merriwood Minute, sponsored by Midstate Technical College.
Yeah, it's the season of brackets and complaining about seeds and blowout first-round games. I appreciate that everyone gets a chance to win a gold ball, but bringing 5 or 6 girls to a playoff game, making one basket the entire game, doesn't really help much of anybody.
Bringing a stick to a gunfight.
Yeah, like a shard of wood, not even a stick.
Yeah.
All right, girls basketball playoffs are here. Assumption stumbles in the final week of basically meaningless games.
Yeah, 2 losses.
Yeah. They do finish the conference 16-0, so congratulations to the Lady Royals.
Yeah.
They've won 20 straight conference games. Do you know who they lost to?
The last loss?
Last time they lost.
Stratford.
No. But we were there. Us two were there.
We were there?
Yeah.
Newman?
Athens. Last year.
See, I always forget that north-south business. But you're right, we were there.
Yeah.
We were there. That was a fun game, too.
I think they lost to Auburndale the night before, or the same week. So, you know what?
That
I'm
was
going
the
to give
hot
you
dog
half
game.
credit.
That was the hot dog game at
Was it?
Auburndale. Yep.
Fantastic.
Yep.
Okay. There's very few buys in Division 5, and maybe that's part of the issue here, right? So we get close games like 65-7, 68-10, 86-2,
Nail biters.
and that's just one sectional.
Nail biters. Yeah.
Assumption cruises past Port Edward 70-8. Prentice defends home court, 18-point win over Washburn. That's a trip. Anything from Washburn is far.
Long ways.
Yeah.
That's Lake Superior.
Yep. Athens wins by 60. Edgar wins over Newman Catholic by 7.
Yeah.
at
Close
home.
game.
Yep.
Close game.
Rib Lake falls by 8 to the Three Lakes Co-op with Phelps.
Okay.
Division 4, Marathon wins a close 8-9 game over the Lumberjills.
Yeah.
Abbotsford, 17 points better than Colby.
Yep.
Schwamagun blown out at Cadott. Everybody else had a bye, so 9 out of the 12 Merriwood teams still alive
Okay.
through the first round.
Yeah. Congrats.
Yeah. Congratulations to the Marathon boys for clinching another Merriwood South title. 22-1 on the season. How many of those 22 games do you think they've won by double digits?
The 22, I'll say 14.
21.
Oh, jeez, all but one.
All but one.
All but one. What was the one?
I think it was done in Milwaukee.
That was, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's awesome.
Yeah.
It's a really good, it's a good put together team. Those here in Marathon get to say we next week, Friday,
That's
when
true.
Marathon takes to the floor.
You know what? Say it tomorrow night. You are
Yeah, right,
conference
right,
champs,
right. Yeah, we
Why not?
are conference champs. Yeah.
Host Auburndale tomorrow night with the chance to go 16-0.
Yeah.
I asked Coach Jacobson on Tuesday night who the last 16-0 team was, and I didn't think about it, but I should have known. Do you know? You'll hit yourself when I tell you.
Stratford.
Stratford.
Yeah.
COVID year.
Yeah. Yep. I had to think about that for a second, though.
Should have played, who was it, Iola? Or?
It would have been Iola
Yeah.
the next game. They had just beat, I forget who at Wausau West, and had Iola on the schedule. As they left the gym, they were playing Iola Saturday at 7 p.m.
Yeah.
And never got to play.
Yeah. You know, that is one of the games that I wish we would have gotten. Like there's a lot of games that...
I think they beat Auburndale that day.
Yeah.
Sorry.
But it's 4 years later, and I still think about like how awesome that game would have been. That'd have been a great game. And not saying that the two towns don't like each other, because that's not what I'm getting at. But I don't think those players liked each other very much.
Well, they were both really sure they were better than the other one.
Yeah.
And that Sunday or Monday, I haven't told many people this, but I think we're far enough out now, and it's not that big of a deal. But by that Sunday or Monday, so within 48 hours of that game being canceled forever, kids from both schools were calling us saying if we could bring our equipment to the Stevens Point YMCA, they had all agreed to play. They were going to have a game at the YMCA in Stevens Point. As far as I know, the game didn't materialize. We did not oblige the request, but
Administration got involved.
somebody,
Yeah.
adults. Yeah. All right.
But I mean, like, who would have won that? That'd have been.
I would have went. I don't know if we would have broadcasted, but I would have went.
I would also have
Okay.
been there.
Yeah.
All right. So the top 4 seeds are the 4 Merriwood South teams. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Per the usual, as the kids say.
Yep. Marathon's the 1. Stratford's the 4.
They play on next week, Friday.
Next week, Saturday would be.
You're right. Sorry. Marathon would play, it may be Colby. Sorry. I keep interrupting you, Dan. Go ahead.
Colby Crandon. Yeah. I did ask Coach Jacobson if him or someone on the staff would be in Colby Tuesday night.
I heard that part.
And he
yeah.
laughed and nodded. Yeah, I think there's a good chance.
Well, I will also be in Colby that night shooting highlights. So
All
I'll
right.
see, Coach, I'll see you there.
Yep. Stratford, great win at Auburndale. We mentioned it, but Stratford is a tough team, and a lot of these Marywood South teams, they're not going to get pushed around. And a lot of times, the more physical team wins those upper 40-point games, right? And if Stratford plays in the 40s, they got a great shot to win that game.
Tough is the two words I thought of last night as I was finishing watching that game. I was watching that instead of yours, I admit.
Yeah.
Tough, gritty.
I would too.
Tough and gritty were the Stratford Tigers last night. Auburndale wasn't far behind in those two categories. The Eagles not able to make some free throws down the stretch. Stratford made just enough plays. And fortunate for the Stratford Tigers, there is no shot clock in Wisconsin high school basketball, or they would have been up against it, I think.
The last 3-4 minutes of game time in that game took a long time.
Yeah. Well,
We were starting our second half. Auburndale had 9 minutes left. And
Yeah.
they ended at about the same time.
yeah, well, Stratford went four corners around 3.5 minutes. So, yeah, that's why. Yeah, okay.
I hate everything about it.
I do, too.
Yep. Rib Lake, the Marywood North champ. Their best team since the COVID year. They're the 1 seed. They'll be the favorite to win. They're sectional, half sectional.
Okay.
Their sectional final would be against Solon Springs, who brings back everybody from an overtime sectional final loss last year.
Talked about Marathon being an animal. Solon Springs is an animal, too.
Yeah. Assumption, Prentice, Phillips also have home games next week, but they're not going to be favored to make it past Saturday, I would say. Here's something for you. It's been a while since we've seen Marywood Pride.
I was going to bring that up today, and I'm glad you did.
Yeah.
I said you and I are like in the same brain right now for some reason, and it's kind of creepy.
It's time to come back. Marywood Pride, time to come back.
Well, they were so perky for like a week and a half of football, and then we've heard nothing since Stratford and Edgar, both Marywood teams, won state championships. We've
Yeah.
heard nothing since the day after.
Yeah.
Where you been? It's now playoffs, baby,
Yeah. Marywood Pride, we have a couple teams that could win state this year in basketball.
and you've been missing,
Yeah.
wiped off the face of the earth.
Yeah, time to come back. Speaking of coming back, we'll be back next week with the next Marywood Minute.
Hey, all right, there we go. If I could, Dan, I just want to. I'm on With Sports right now.
Are you
just
going to
for
correct half of what
full
I said?
disclosure?
Because
Nope.
that'd be great.
I will correct nothing. Matter of fact, I was the one making mistakes during your presentation. Jackson Blomberg, Dominic Quednow, Donovan Sutherland go for about 50 for the Rib Lake Redmen as they average 60 a game. So you get 5/6 of the scoring from those three guys. And in Division 5, you get three guys that are able to score like that. They will be tough to beat.
That's a tough out.
Will be a tough out.
Yeah. They also are benefited with having kind of a weak sectional. You get the Northwest sectional in pretty much any division, and it's really not that bad a place to be.
Yeah. So good luck to the Redmen and all others. The only we I have are the we us's that wear the Zaleski sports shirts. That's the only we I cheer for, along with the officials. I've made that clear a few times. I cheer for the officials on the floor.
Yeah, you know,
It's kind of fun.
maybe it's just me, and maybe the games I'm at, but the officials have done a really good job, especially down the stretch here, letting the kids play a little bit more, calling really obvious fouls. Thankfully, I've had very few games where there's been 25, 30 fouls called a half, because there are some crews that call a lot of stuff, and you have to change the way that you're playing in that. But even in the Marathon Edgar game Tuesday night, very physical game, I don't even know if either team got in the bonus.
I like it. That sounds like a clean game to me.
Yeah.
We'll take some credit for this. Only just because of the work that we do, it serves the officials. I've heard it for the past 6-7 years. Officials of all sports will tell us before or after, whenever they see us, that, hey, thanks for doing this, because we're able to go after the game and rewatch and grade ourselves, and that can only help. I grade myself after the game. I'll go back and watch sometimes, and it's a way, personal improvement's a big deal in your professional and in your personal life. All right, let's wrap it up, Dan. Big thanks to Three Amigos Mexican Bar and Grill right here in Marathon, just south of the Highway 29. That we're going to enjoy. We've already had some of the poppers.
Yeah.
You had one nacho I saw.
Yep.
We've got chicken wings. The appetizers here are a big deal at Three Amigos. So come in
And a
get
full bar.
Get yourself an appetizer, get yourself something really good to drink. Desserts are on the menu, and all the other stuff. Fish tacos are on special today. I had those the last time I was here.
6 Modelo's for $15.
That's a steal.
That is a steal.
Steal, man. You watch out. The Marathon PD may ask you some questions. They think you stole that Modelo's.
Do they have Marathon PD?
I don't know.
I don't know either.
Liverpool won, so got that.
4-1 over Luton Town.
Or that was what it was, Luton Town?
That's what it says.
I don't know where that is.
Luton Town.
I know where Liverpool
England.
is, though. Liverpool's on the west side of England. There we go, Dan. That's the show. I think we did pretty good.
Not too bad. Not too bad. Again, if you get the chance to go out and take in a game, it's nice to see the gyms full again.
Yeah.
It hasn't been until the last 2 weeks that the fans have really come back, but they're here.
It's a real energy about it, and it's what makes high school sports special. Go out and support all your Wees, all the kids in your community. They will appreciate you being there, even if you don't know who they are.
Yeah.
Go and do that. All right, Dan Ross, Jason Zaleski, we are hungry. We're going to sign off so we can eat. Have yourself a great night. Live sports resume Thursday at ZaleskiSports.com.